Good afternoon. Our presentation today is about the evaluation of participatory approaches, which underpinned a three-year, three-site research project based at the universities of Brighton, Birmingham and Lincoln. The project's overarching aim was to co-produce knowledge with older co-researchers about the experience of older people who self-fund their care, a significant group about which little is known. Briefly, the evaluation set out to explore the opportunities, benefits, challenges and learning associated with working in three sites with three co-research teams, three academic teams, community partners and stakeholders who took part in a number of knowledge exchange events. I should now like to introduce you to Kate Holly and Sue Bennett, co-researchers based in Lincolnshire and Birmingham, and to Sally Cornish, who is the research fellow who carried out the evaluation.
Thank you, Mo. And I'm going to start talking about the methods used in the evaluation. The evaluation's research questions, with their focus on process and experience, pointed to a qualitative approach. And so questions for interviews with co-researchers, academics and stakeholders were drafted and refined after consultation with the academic and co-researcher teams on each of the three project sites. The intention had been for prospective participants to be offered one-to-one semi-structured interviews, but the intervention of COVID and lockdown meant that interviews were conducted remotely, fewer stakeholders were involved, and some participants chose to make a written contribution. Thematic analysis is now being used to illuminate the place and value of co-production in the project and to identify points for reflection and learning about co-produced research practice. I'm going now to focus on a particular thread that runs through the results so far, which is the significance of relationships. This may be an unsurprising finding, given that co-production is essentially research in partnership, so in relationship with other people. However, the evaluation is showing the range of meanings relationships have in the project from the different perspectives of co-researchers, academics, and stakeholders. I'll say a little about this now, and at the end of the presentation, we'll touch on some of the potential questions the evaluation is raising about the challenges that may be inherent in co-production, alongside the opportunities and advantages it offers. So first, relationships formed the foundations of the project, with existing networks and contacts offering opportunities for identifying and involving co-researchers and stakeholders, and indeed research participants. Not only were these relationships significant in that people were drawn together by their common concerns about the research topic, here the self-funding of older people's care, but also because individuals valued one another as people and wanted to work together. Second, relationships within project teams, so between co-researchers and academics, have provided the context and the means for every aspect of the research process, with regular meetings on each site as the backbone of the work. Within these teams, people relate to one another in ways that focus on individual strengths and characterise a culture of mutual respect, care and shared commitment to the project. This has proved crucial in maintaining momentum and cohesion over a number of years and throughout the inevitable changes and challenges that arise in a long-term piece of work, not least a global pandemic. Finally, relationships have been the context for formal and informal learning with and from other people, with this learning bringing value to the knowledge produced by offering the benefit of co-researchers and stakeholders' lived experience. These include experiences of being and or caring for older people in personal, voluntary and professional capacities, the realities of navigating care provision, and the different local factors and issues that shape the care landscape at each of the three sites. So, having given this brief flavour of the evaluation, I'll turn now to Kate and Sue to speak about the project from their co-researcher perspective, starting with Sue from Solihull.
Hello. Attending meetings was the main commitment from us co-researchers. It was at meetings that we learnt from the academics about the research process, and where I feel the greatest challenge lay for the academics to develop inclusive relationships with us mixed bag of co-researchers. I believe the success of our team was due to the active listening and responding to ideas from all members of the team. This made me feel that my contribution and life experience were a valuable input. Tips for academics: Be careful how you ask co-researchers for additional involvement. You don't want them to feel pressured. They're likely to withdraw from the team if everyone else is doing extra and they haven't got the time or don't feel capable. Academics need to be very patient. Processes that are routine to them will be completely new to a co-researcher, so may need explaining several times and over several meetings. I think the success of the co-research process is very much dependent on the personalities of the academics and the co-researchers. Academics should not give any hint to co-researchers that their involvement is sometimes a hindrance to getting on with the actual research.
I'm Kate, one of the volunteer co-researchers working with the University of Lincoln. Lincolnshire is a large rural county with a travel time of over 2 hours to travel from north to south, and the 10 co-researchers come from right across the county. A group of co-researchers brings many things to the project: access to a broad range of attitudes and beliefs, access to local knowledge and a range of networks, and access to a broad skills base and wealth of experience. One of the initial and essential processes early in the research was to identify and recruit older people who were self-funding their care, plus care providers and care workers who were willing and able to participate in the research. Flyers were produced centrally to be used by all 3 sites, but these didn't actually attract much interest. However, by utilising the local knowledge and personal contacts, the co-researchers facilitated the introduction of over 20 older people from right across Lincolnshire and a range of care providers and practitioners who otherwise may not have been reached. The access to a skills base has proved indispensable in the last couple of weeks, with the requirement to produce a short video presentation for Pearl, a university conference on public engagement. Who knew that we had a budding film director in our midst, otherwise known as Mike, a retired local government officer, or film cameraman and technical support Steve, retired head of IT, or presenters Lissy, head teacher, Ruth, pharmacist, Tony, Health Watch Board representative, and myself, public health. Along with a willing team spirit and desire to work together that has grown over the 3 years, this has been an enjoyable and productive experience.
Thanks, Kate and Sue. In conclusion then, now that we have highlighted and illustrated the significance of relationships in the project, I'll end with 3 wider questions raised by the evaluation to date. First, does the role of existing networks as bases for the project compromise inclusivity and diversity? If so, how? Does it matter? And how can this be addressed? Second, what are the resource implications for funders, universities and co-researchers of authentic co-production, given the time, attention and sustained commitment it requires of everybody involved? Finally, what does the close attention to the relational research process mean for knowledge production, and how is the knowledge produced affected by the context in which it arises? So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you very much indeed for listening, and we look forward to any questions or discussion points you may want to raise. Goodbye.